What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Welcome back, Gab and Maui. Hello.
Round two.
Yeah.
Let's go round
Round
two.
Content never stops.
We never stop. Para to sa mga listeners din natin, this is part 2 of our Ballers and Boleros of the Season episode. Part 2, we're going to talk about our Boleros of the Season. Okay. In previous episode, we just recorded litong-lito. I keep mixing things up. Pero malinaw na. Boleros of the Season to. Just like in the previous episode, we'll do 2 rounds. We'll pick 2 Boleros of the Season each. Last time we started with Gab. Let's start with you. We'll start with you, Maui, this time. So, Maui, sino ang unang bolero of the season mo? Where you gonna
Yeah,
go?
my first bolero of the season. I went with two teams. If you watch our previous episode, one was controversial, one was unexpected. I'm going for a player. My bolero of the season has to be Kai Balungay from the Ateneo Blue Eagles, my alma mater.
Whoa!
He was number 1 on my list, Maui. He was number 1 on my list.
Kai
I have to
Balungay
agree.
has to be a bolero. I think I have to say called him as one of my MVP. No, my MVP contender for this
You
season.
picked him as an
Diba?
MVP.
I picked him as my MVP contender for this season over Malik Diouf. I think you guys picked Malik Diouf. The expectations for Kai Balungay this season was skyrocket. I think yung off-season niya really showed what he could do, what he could be. And I think what KQ has accomplished for this season should have been what Kai Balungay should have accomplished for Ateneo. Being that emotional leader, being that go-to guy, and that was not the case the whole season for Ateneo. I think yung biggest question talaga sa Ateneo, aside from the point guard issues, all season long, was would Kai Balungay consistently show up? There were games that they looked like the best player in the court. There were games that he didn't show up. He didn't even have a huge impact. And I think it speaks volumes on why Ateneo had an inconsistent season this year. They finished the elimination at a 7-7 record. And it has a lot to do with Kai Balungay, not just the guards. I think what he showed us nung preseason should have been what we should have seen during this season. There's a reason why he was my top MVP guy coming into the season. I think yung dominance na talaga ng off-season, even against big teams like Lasal. If you watch yung Davao League, di ba, he had a big game. And definitely, despite still probably being in the top 10 in the MVP or top 12, he's still a bolero of the season for me. Because I really expected a lot more. Nothing against Sky. I think he has a bright future. I'm actually excited to see where he's going. As far as I know, he's not eligible for Japan and Korea because of heritage issues. Like for Japan, he's not eligible because he's not FIBA eligible. For Korea, it's because he doesn't have two Asian parents. But this season was really a season with huge expectations. And I think that he really struggled to come up even close to the expectations that the whole community had for him. But still good luck to Kai Balungay. I still love this player. I love how he plays. I love his game. Hopefully he can develop more, especially yung creating his own shot, because these are some of the things that he struggled with during this season. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, just want to say, kasi Gab, you had him also as your bolero. To be fair to Kai, no, as you mentioned, Maui, I think he is a bolero because the expectations were very high. He still performed well. He was still one of the top players of Ateneo, but maybe not up to par with what we expected from him, especially with how he performed during the preseason, where he was like player of the game every game and he was super dominant in every single game. But so hindi naman sa big, really big disappointment si Kai, or Kai didn't show up. He was actually good in some games. It's just that hindi niya na-meet yung level of expectation that we had, for him. So, go ahead, Gab. Like, anything to add? Why did you also have him as your top pick? One of your top picks.
Well, same reasons as you guys brought up. He didn't meet expectations. And I think as the season went on, mas nakita mo talaga yung flaws in his game. Sabi nga ni Maui, lack of shot creation. He's mostly just a catch and shoot guy or a lob guy. That's all he sometimes he can post up, but he doesn't take advantage of mismatches a lot. And yung wala siyang off the dribble game, doesn't have a very tight handle. He can't really drive to the basket consistently. And parang he shies away from physicality eh. Yun yung medyo na disappoint ako. Na in the preseason, parang he was getting a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of defensive rebounds, just being physical. Pero come the UAP season, once binabody bump na siya ng mga other big men from other schools. Heck, yung even yung other guards, he just lost his effectiveness, especially in the first round and even the second round. No? Kaya yung tama nga si Maui, naging very inconsistent yung Ateneo throughout the entire season. And yeah, hopefully he develops his game. No? I think he's still pretty young. Ikaw nagsabi no, Maui, he's 21?
Yeah, he's 21, 22. So he has a lot of time to develop his game. And hopefully he gets his FIBA eligibility in the future.
Yeah, still pretty young. He can still develop. I think he can watch this season and just tell that he has flaws in his game also. No, yun. Just I wanted to give this actually to the whole Ateneo team. I mean, I was high on them coming on this season because I thought they had the guy in Kai Balungay who could actually carry the offense, but didn't pan out. Just didn't pan out, and they were so inconsistent the entire season. Who's next? Is it gonna?
Hello?
Looks like
Gab?
it's you next.
Okay, ako na yung
Gab
next.
is missing.
Nawala si Gab.
Yan,
Nawawala
Gab
si
is
Gab.
back.
Sige. Okay, Gab, ako na muna. Since
Go ahead.
Sige. Baka din do, medyo controversial pick. Actually, I wouldn't say it's controversial, pero sayang lang din tong team na to because had some things gone, their way, maybe they would be ballers of the season because they were a bit surprising to me. And my pick for Bolero of the season has to be Adamson. With everything that happened, no? So I actually had them very low because, well, number one, Jerome it got injured like a month before the start of the season. So dun pa lang medyo naging tagilid na yung season nila. And because of that, I actually had them very low. I think bottom 2 in my initial preseason power ranking. And they surprised us. Except for Gab. Gab was high on them even without Jerome Lastimosa. And that was a good call, Gab, by the way.
Yeah.
So, baller si Gab dun. They definitely surprised me because I had them like second to the last. And they were very competitive. They beat good teams. They beat Ateneo in the first round and they were competitive against all the other teams. And then, you know what happened the rest of the way. They tried to play Jerome again too early, I think. They tried to play Jerome too early. After just a few minutes of playing, Jerome re-injures his knee. He fully tears it this time, and then they lose to Ateneo, and si Coach Nash Racela, made those comments against the UAAP about the UAAP. He later on apologized, but it was actually not an apology. Like he clarified it pa. He posted something. So it was a messy end for me for Adamson. To be fair to them, they did beat NU. So during the end of the season, I'm not sure if it says much about them or more about NU. We'll talk more about that later. But still, for me, overall, was disappointed with Adamson. They were a good, pleasant surprise at the start. But if you look at everything that happened to them, I just feel bad for them, and I have to put them as a bolero for my season.
I actually did not have Adamson as a bolero, but more of si Coach Nash Rosella.
Coach Nash.
It has not
I
been...
mean, if you're a fan, sayang, di ba? Sayang.
Same,
Could have
same,
made it.
same.
They could have made it. They missed it by one game. They could have made the Final Four again. Go ahead, Gab.
Hindi, para sa akin kasi, I wouldn't put the whole Adamson, yung clump it together as a bolero. Because I think they outperformed most people's expectations.
Yeah, with their lineup.
Coming into...
Diba?
Yeah.
Yung coming into... Yeah, tama si Maui, yung coming into this season na they lost Jerome, they lost Duanga, they lost Manlapas, Flowers, and they were still pretty...
Diba, for a huge part.
And they discovered new stars. Montebon, Cedric Manzano stepping up.
Yeah, so...
Mga, silver lining.
So for me, mas baller sila actually kung talagang yung Adamson team lang, just outperforming expectations of them, almost making it to the Final Four, despite that blowout in the playoff for the 4th seed versus Ateneo. They were still competitive. I love the way they played. They just competed yung all throughout and almost made it to the Final Four. But yung for me, yung isa sa mga top sa list ko is si Nash Rosella. It has not been a good season for Coach Nash Rosella. The on-court product, I think, wala akong masasabi. It was a good season for him on that mark. But off the court, yung playing Jerome, not answering questions about anything about playing Jerome. Yeah. That, I think, is a big mark, a big X on his resume for this season. And then complaining about the before the fake apology, Maui, complaining about the free throw disparity, blaming the UAAP that they wanted Ateneo into the Final Four, which, that's kind of not the case. And then when you had the free throw disparity in the game you won, you did not complain about it because you won. So I think sobrang, and then the fake apology, I mean, issuing an apology but making excuses for himself, so he wasn't really apologizing. It's been a rough season for Coach Nash. Medyo a lot of people dinged him for that, and at the end they did not make the Final Four.
Actually, Gab, to add lang, when Coach Nash was showed nung Lasal UP Finals, walang pumansin. Diba? Usually, especially the UP crowd, they really cheer for Adamson, diba? They cheer for Adamson. I mean, they've been very open about that they're also supporting Adamson. But when Coach Nash was shown on the screen, I mean, I don't think nobody acknowledged. Siguro talagang his reputation this season, my respect for him has really tarnished because of all the off-court drama and all of the off-court antics he had this season.
Yeah, but so Gab, just to answer also yung sinabi mo. That's why I said this could be controversial. Kasi you could argue na Adamson could be a bolero, but you could also argue na they could be ballers because of like how they outperformed the players that we saw. Montebon, sobrang clutch nung guy na to. Cedric Manzano, we've been fans of. So, yun, that's why I was 50-50 on it, but like overall, sayang din. So, I had them as my bolero. Go ahead, Cam.
My bolero of the season is a group of players na I'm gonna club them all together. Foreign student athletes, namely Mo Fati, Bright Noangco, Adama Faye, OJ Ojarikre, and Omar John. They all five of them played horrible this season. Yes, you can look at it. You can look back at. Let's start with Mo Fati. I don't think I have to expound, guys, on my disappointment for Mo Fati this season, diba? We have kind of mentioned him all throughout the season as being one of the most horrible players to watch on the UAAP. Just unplayable at times. Sobrang unplayable. sobrang unplayable. And FEU was better playing small, diba? We talked about this all throughout the season. They looked better playing small just because they didn't have Mo Fati. They lost to UST twice. UST did not have a big man, and Mo Fati still could not score against UST. Number 2, Adama Faye played just one game, or I think 2, and then left. So, yeah, not him. Bright Nuanco lost his spot in the rotation. Was not playing anymore in the finals. Really bad. OJ Ojarikre, just a horrible offensive player. Cannot make any shots near the rim. And they had to go a lot with Cedric Manzano at center just to stay alive in games.
May solid may solid minutes naman si Ojarikre. May
but
solid minutes.
For the most part, I think a lot of Adamson fans are also disappointed. How many dunks did you miss?
Na-miss nila si Duanga, definitely. Passionate din si Duanga.
Yeah. That's true, diba? That's true. Compared to Duanga, iba.
And lastly, Omar John. I called him the second best foreign student athlete behind Malik Diouf. A far second, of course, to Malik Diouf. But he was so disappointing this season, especially towards the end of the season, man. His minutes dropped. Just dropped, especially towards the end of the season. He was not taking advantage of mismatches. He was not rebounding as much. He was not protecting the rim as much. And the lack of offensive moves inside really hurt in you. I mean, he was usually someone you could go to the post and he would have the left-handed hook shot. Pero now hindi. I mean, teams now know his moves and he didn't adjust well. And so all 5 of them, I think, had a pretty disappointing season. So the other 3, I think you could say maybe outperformed their expectations. Si Malik Diouf, si Obasa, and si Precious Momoway. But the other 5, I think a lot of people, you would agree, were pretty disappointing for season 86. Just horrible to watch all 5 of them. Thoughts, guys?
It's a good
I would have to agree, Gab. Diba you're getting an FSA for an advantage, but most of the guys you mentioned, they were big disadvantages on the court, to the point that their coaches had to use smaller big men.
Tama nga yung not on the court eh.
Diba? It's crazy, diba? It's crazy when teams like FEU have to play small ball basketball with James Tempra starting at playing the center spot with a ton of minutes. These FSA should definitely provide value, a lot of value. And it's the reason why teams like UP and Ateneo and LaSalle have dominated the UAAP the past few seasons. Guys like Mbala, Kwame, and Malik Diouf, and even sa UST. Bright Akweti, and even sa UST before, di ba, si Chabio. These FSAs should provide an advantage to local players, and it's the reason why we welcome them, the UAAP, because they raise the level of play, the standard of play. They inspire the local big men to work more on their game, and some of them even convert, diba, to 3-point shooters, or even develop more of their moves, or even move another position like to the power forward slot. So definitely not having a capable FSA should not be the case for most of the teams. But for this season, definitely majority of the teams coincidentally had FSAs who were at times unplayable. To be optimistic about it.
Yeah, good. It's a good point, Gab. Pero I was gonna say, actually, if you think about it, in the past, kahit yung mga FSAs in the past, hindi naman ganun kagaling eh. Pero malalaki. Malalaki sila, and that was really the advantage that they had, diba? Like, maraming mga normally an FSA that you would get is like a very tall but raw FSA. And I think why it's more prevalent now na parang mas bano or parang mas not as advantageous yung mga FSAs na to na raw din, raw-ish, malalaki na raw. It hasn't changed. they haven't changed because we've seen a lot of FSAs na malalaki na raw. I've been watching UP games in the past before Bright and nakalimutan ko
Diouf.
na tuloy si Diouf. Bright and Diouf, UP had really, really, really bad FSAs. I remember like very raw FSAs then before. But what I
Si
think
Ball,
has
diba? I
changed,
think, diba? You had an FSA called Ball.
hindi, FSA ba yun? Phil Foreign lang ata yan eh. Hindi ba?
Talaga?
Anyway.
Akala ko yun yung FSA.
I forget. But what I was gonna say is, iba na rin yung level of talent ng mga locals or even the Phil Foreign players now. Yeah. Like, may mga KQ, Kai Balungay, Carl
Mike
Tamayo,
Phillips, who can match up
Mike
with the
Phillips.
FSAs, di ba?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
even
may
Isaac
Mike
Go.
Phillips ka naman sa team. Yeah, even Isaac Go. May Mike Phillips ka sa team. Talagang medyo mahirap maghanap ng FSA na that can match up with a guy like Mike Phillips. Or the local players now are huge. KQ, Carl Tamayo nga, as I mentioned. Kai Balungay, Mason Amos. So, I think it's also the fact that yung level of talent ng locals and even the Phil foreign players have also stepped up significantly. So, hindi na pwedeng mag-rely. Yeah, so hindi na pwedeng mag-rely ka lang sa really big, super athletic but raw FSA. It has to be like a very talented or skilled FSA pa rin. Guys like Diouf, Kwame, Obasa this year. So I agree. I really love your pick, Gab, but I also feel like it's also because everyone else is like raising their game. So yun.
Just a final thought lang there. I hope the UAAP does not follow the NCA and removes the FSAs.
Well,
diba?
Don't spoil our next podcast, Maui. I have something prepared for you guys.
Okay,
I have something prepared
that.
for you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll keep my lips sealed for now. But that's one comment I want to say.
Okay. So we're done with our first round. Let's move on to the second round, Maui. Sino yung second Bolero of the season mo? And last.
Yeah, I think I have to say yung one of my Boleros for the season. Very angkop with the term Boleros kasi talagang binola nila tayo this season. It has to be the UST men's basketball team. If you called out yung women's basketball team as a baller,
nag-double up sila, Maui. Grabe, from 1 win naging 2.
Despite nowhere to go but up mentality, and despite doubling their win total, which maybe only LaSalle did this season, I would have to say that they are Boleros of the season. Coming into the season, we were all very optimistic for what would happen with UST. They were very mysterious, very Pido-like off-season. We did not see them in any major off-season tournaments. And we always saw them on the news. Laging nasa spin, laging nasa tiebreaker times. With all the recruits, plus with all the hype coming from the coaching staff from Letran, who were 3-time champions in the NCAA, if I'm not mistaken.
Grabe yung hype.
We were all expecting, I can speak for myself. If you watch our power rankings episode, I ranked them as number 5. I was expecting them to take a big leap, not double up, probably at the minimum times 5 or times 6 their record. So from a 1-win
at least competitive, no, Maui? At least competitive.
Yeah. At least competitive for this season. And if you watched a lot of UST games, you will see that they are a long way to go to contention, despite winning 2 games. They might have beaten FEU twice, but FEU, despite only winning 3 games, they were competitive with most of their games. They even beat Ateneo twice, diba? And they went head-to-head with UP during the first round, almost dealing them their first loss. So, yeah, definitely I would have to award UST. Hindi gumana yung pagpakalbo this season. It didn't work, the strategy of Pido Harencho. You can say that maybe a huge part of it was also because their FSA quit after 2 games. But then again, it still was a long season. If this team was really supposed to contend if this team was really talented. A team like Adamson was able to adjust, di ba? And still contend till the end of the season. And they have Nick Caballero, one of the best local non-pro players. So the expectations were really skyrocket, and definitely they disappointed despite doubling their win total from last season. Thoughts, guys?
Gab.
Yeah, I will have to agree, man. I mean, I at least expected them to be competitive. I didn't agree with your ranking them fifth, though. I think, if I remember correctly. But I expect them to be competitive.
You did
diba?
not. You did not. If I remember. Kasi Adamson, I think yung fifth mo talaga from that time. Which was correct. Diba?
Oh, yeah. So yun, I at least expected them to be competitive. Not getting blown out almost every game. And they were, no, except for a couple of games, I think, against... well, they won against FEU twice, but I think they had a close game against, was it Adamson or UE? Or one of those teams they
I
had
think UE may competitive game sila against UE.
Competitive game. But all the others, man, they were so bad. Just so bad. And it wasn't just that they lacked an FSA or they lacked talent. It's the way they played also. I'm sorry to Coach Pido, and I've harped on this for the entire season. He has not adjusted the way they played to his personnel. And puro lang Nick Caballero post-up, Nick Caballero pick and roll, Nick Caballero isolation, Christian Manaytay post-up or isolation. Walang sobrang creative way to make up for the lack of, talent on their team. Take a look at yung tama si Maui. Take a look at yung Adamson, diba? They're not as talented of a team, but they made the most of their personnel. They shot a lot of threes. Alam nila yung marami silang shooters. Walang masyadong great ball creator at wala masyadong, yung great one-on-one player. But they had a lot of shooters. So they took advantage of that. It's a drive and kick game, pick and roll kick, sometimes they would run post-ups for Cedric Manzano, but they made the most out of that personnel. UST, I don't think did that talaga. Talagang yung paulit-ulit na leaning on Nick Caballero to bail them out. And nakakaawa kay Nick Caballero eh. He tries his damn hardest to keep them in games, pero wala talent around him.
Tinanggap na niya. Kasi last season, di ba, sinisira na pa jersey niya, nakikita mo, this season, parang tinanggap na niya yung fate ng UST.
Which is sad, diba? Which is really sad. And yeah, ang pangat panoorin ng UST yung this season. I'm cautiously optimistic for them next season. Again, they have Fortsky, they have Kyle Paranada, they also have other recruits coming in, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I think, man, they can improve a little bit, but woo, what a bad season again for UST. Sammy.
Yeah, just to add, no, you're talking about the recruits, diba? We were so hyped, ang dami nilang recruit, but we also have to call out, like, marami silang recruits na last minute umalis din, ha? Like, Gerard Wilson was a UST recruit, last minute moved to UE. They recruited like a couple of guys from NCAA. I forget, like a big guy. Actually, two guys, I think, from NCAA. And then umalis din sila eventually. So si Amsali din recruit nila, and then nawala. So it was
Jacob
a bit
Cortez,
messy
actually,
din.
dapat UST rin. Diba? He came from the juniors rank.
Yeah, that's true. So it was a bit messy then for them. Okay, I'm going for my second pick, and I think good timing yung sinabi ni Maui. I was actually choosing between two teams, but I'm gonna go with FEU as my Bolero of the season. And I have to point out na the two wins of UST came from FEU. The fact that FEU couldn't beat UST this season says a lot about this FEU team. And medyo it's hard to do, not being able to beat this UST team at least once, diba? Like The first time they lost, nagkamali sila, na upset sila. But they lost again. Ewan ko na lang sa FEU. And, this is a very talented team, diba? I think we ranked them like, at least ako, I ranked them like number 5. I think FEU was my number 5 sa power rankings ko. And I was super high on Cholo Año Nuevo coming in. I had him as like a surprise pick or something like that. And they still had LJ Gonzalez. It's still a mythical 5 player. The fact that you have a mythical 5 player, I expect you to be able to at least compete. But they couldn't, diba? They couldn't, and they were also a team that was hit by the injury bug. So, to be fair, maraming na-injure sa kanila. So, that was unlucky. But I think we also have to call out Coach Denok Miranda. Kasi a lot of the things that they did this season, more or less, they were doing last season when they had Coach Olsen Acela. And that didn't work last season. So, we were sort of expecting fresh blood.
With the same team. Yun yung malaking
team.
Dun eh.
May Joric Bautista pa na nag-break out, di ba?
Nag-break out pa si Joric Bautista. So we're expecting fresh blood, fresh coaching. They had all the FEU stars coaching them. Kahit si Arwin, I think, was consulting or coaching them. But we didn't see anything new that much. So I think that has to be called out. That was a bit disappointing for FEU. And it's now 2 seasons straight na they didn't make it into the Final Four after being a regular, a mainstay in the Final Four for how many years. So for me, that has to be like another minus for this FEU team. Despite all of that, I do have to mention na they beat Ateneo twice. The only team other than NU.
Yun eh. Yun yung hindi ko matanggap eh.
So, you know what?
Oh my God.
Bolero of the season kayo, FEU, pero to be fair sa inyo, tinalo nyo Ateneo twice. Coach Tab, the golden standard, sabi ni Maui, of coaching. And this proud Ateneo.
May blueprint eh. May blueprint.
Couldn't beat FEU dahil meron silang blueprint, no? May insider info sila from Coach Gabby Severino. So, kudos to Coach Gabby Severino, and we hope we see more of the tactical, strategic ideas of Coach Gabby Severino moving forward then. So, heads up, meron din kayong pasaol, a couple of good players coming in. I guess the question for FEU is, you have the guards, you have the shooters, saan yung big men? Sino yung papalit kay, I doubt they're gonna keep Mo Fati.
Wala na.
Wala na.
One and done si Mo Fati. Yeah.
So, sino new FSA nyo? And you guys need local bigs. Kasi Miguel Ona, he's good. We loved him. He had energy, lumaban siya, but he can't do it on his own. Come on, guys. So, yun lang.
Tsaka Sam, I think, si Nuevo really has to get healthy. That's the first thing, di ba?
That's true.
They were really playing like a lot.
3 seasons na or something. Go ahead.
Yeah, 3 seasons. And they were playing better when he was playing yung small ball 5 and 4 nila. So yeah, I agree, Sam. Actually, sa list ko, I was thinking kung UST ba or FEU yung i-mention ko. But because FEU still was able to beat Ateneo twice, and because they went head-to-head also with UP. And UP, di ba? They almost beat UP. I think that they really underperformed, but on the other hand, mas dismal yung season ng UST in my opinion. So yeah, it's weird, di ba? LaSalle started to ramp up yung program nila. They're now the champions. We'll see what a storied wala. Ay back. Yeah, so let's see what a storied school like FEU will do to bounce back. It has to be, they're very consistent. They've been consistently in the Final Four, and it's kind of weird that they've had to back-to-back seasons of not getting to the Final Four. Gab.
my bolero of this season, I think last round na natin, no? Sa amin, Maui, tama ba? Yep. So,
Yep.
okay. My
Last na.
my
Our
bolero.
last. Your last.
Okay. My bolero has to be our internet connection first and foremost. Sobrang nahihirapan na tayo.
Sorry guys. Sorry. Nawawala na yung internet namin tatlo. Sorry.
Okay. No, actually, I was debating whether I would say NU or I would say
Okay, sorry about that. We're having technical difficulties, but we're back. Okay, Gab. Last pick for your bolero of the season.
okay. My bolero season, as I was previously saying, was I was choosing between either NU, but I am gonna choose my second pick, which is the UAAP. A couple of reasons.
Okay.
Well, not a couple.
Okay.
Some reasons. One, 4 game days. We keep on telling this. Stop it with these 4 game days. It's so annoying. No one is gonna watch a game at 10 in the morning or even 11 in the morning. People have work on Wednesdays. No, not everyone has
school. Hindi lang
yeah,
work,
people have
diba?
school on the weekdays. I mean, guys, you're a league of schools. People have school and classes during the weekday.
Do
If you
not
want
tempt the
people to watch-
students and the workers to don't go to school and work.
Yeah, diba? So, yun. First reason, 4 game days. Horrible scheduling. Just don't do it, guys. Please, UAP, stop that. Second, I don't know if this is UAAP, but if FIBA was able to change the system in MOA Arena and SM tickets, why can't the UAAP change the system in MOA Arena? Why do they still do this to us fans? No, to us who wants to watch the UAAP. Again, I've said this many
Explain
times. The system of SM tickets for UAAP games is, well, if you buy online, SM tickets online, you get charged a 100 pesos, 100 peso service fee or convenience fee.
Convenience.
Convenience fee per ticket, not your total package when you check out. Per ticket, you get charged 100 pesos convenience fee. But you don't get the ticket themselves. You get mailed a voucher, which you eventually have to claim at an SM ticket outlet, either at a mall or in the arena itself. You have to line up, spend gas to go to an SM mall, and have the ticket printed. 2 copies. I have the voucher printed, 2 copies, to claim your ticket. It is the dumbest system ever.
Kalokohan.
They charge you 100 pesos for nothing. An extra 100 pesos
Inconvenience fee.
Inconvenience
Diba?
fee nga, hindi convenience fee.
Yeah.
Diba?
So yun. And you get emailed that same ticket, diba? You get emailed that same ticket, which you can use to enter the arena. They have scanners there, which you can use to enter the arena. No more printing out shit. But they still went back to the same system. So, para sa akin, it's not if FIBA could do it, why can't the UAAP do this, diba?
Maintain the standards. That's what we're saying, diba?
Oo. Diba? And very horrible yun. And third, the lack of transparency. And we've said this to start. There were a lot of controversies early on in the season. And just the UAP, in the early part, was not very transparent. They eventually
To be fair, they clarified things, no? Oh, tama.
to be fair, they became
kudos to Mariano Lopa. I think yung transition talaga from transparency started when she became the commissioner. Diba?
Yes. Kudos to Commish Lopa, no? And they improved, but in the early part, medyo everyone was left to speculate yung with regards to certain things.
Which was causing undue drama on social media, diba? Everyone was fighting with each other.
Yes. And a lot of other couple of hiccups here and there. Parang yung echo na narinig natin nung game 1 ng finals. Ano pa ba? Yung having Diego Dario interview Lasal when he was from UP. Sakit naman yun for Diego Dario.
Alam mo, sobrang dami nagsabi sa akin yan, Gab. Sobrang dami nagsabi sa akin na sobrang kawawa ni Diego Dario from all schools. Friends from all schools. Why is Diego Dario the one interviewing them?
Diba?
He's a pro. Kudos to Diego Dario.
He's a pro. Kudos to him, but that was a hard thing he had to do. I'm sure he felt bad that UP lost and he had to interview the winning team. Just see them all happy while him, I think inside was very disappointed and sad. So yun, UAAP, come on, you have to improve. There are steps in the right direction. We mentioned the Filipinas Live app in our previous episode. That's a good step. But there are things you can do to improve. And we've been calling this out over and over. And also I have to mention, so many reviews, man. The reviews, I think we have to cut down on the reviews. They're so draining. How can we have games that last 3 hours? We can't have games that last 3 hours. They're longer than 12 minutes per quarter NBA games. This is not possible.
They have to fix that, di ba? Yung review system.
Tapos 4 na games pa no?
Tsaka sometimes I feel like, di ba, teams are taking advantage also of that review.
Yeah.
It's extra timeouts. Yeah. Diba? It's extra timeout.
You have to fix that.
There are times na we as fans can see on the screen na medyo obvious naman yung call, pero ang tagal pa rin nila mag-decide. Diba? Like, are they seeing something we're not seeing? Because it's obviously out on him. And they're still reviewing it for a couple of minutes. And, it just disturbs the flow of the game. So I think the last 2 minutes of, I think the game 3 of the finals took, 30 to 40 minutes to finish? That was crazy. Ang tagal.
Pati ang sportsmanlike foul di ba? Masyado matagal yung review.
Ang tagal ng review.
Should not be the case. It should always be, it's obvious or it's not. Di ba?
Yeah, yun. So, the UAAP, I'm not gonna stop from calling them out because I think these are fixable things. These are things you can adjust and fix, to make the product better. Okay. That's it for me. Kayo naman.
Yeah, I think that was the last Sam, na Bolero.
Yeah,
but yeah, I have to agree. We are very passionate about the UAAP. And yung comments ni Gab was really geared towards improving the product. We want all the fans to experience the UAAP without all the inconvenience, di ba? So the better, they should continue to get better. I think sa ending rin ni Commissioner Lopa, she mentioned that they can get better. They are things to work on. And that's really in the step in the right direction when you say that. So yeah, hopefully we get a crazy basketball season 87. It's gonna be still a long UAP season for the other sports. The volleyball fans are I'm sure very excited because it's close to the volleyball season now. Sam, take us away.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Bago pa mawala yung internet ko, hindi na niya kinakayanan. I will just end it here. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Listen to the podcast on Spotify if you're driving and you want to listen to the show. And please subscribe and stay tuned kahit tapos na yung season because we have a lot of content lined up for you guys. So just wait for them. They're coming. That's it. Bye-bye. See you. Thank you, internet.